Hello, my name is Matt Bird, and welcome to the PublishU Podcast, where we explore the real life stories of authors from around the world. Today, I'm joined by Dawn Walker from Halifax in the United Kingdom, who has written a book called From Sheepdog to Shepherd. Dawn, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Matt.
So, by day, you're a banker, and by night, you're a mum and a wife and an author. Where
Indeed.
where do you fit in the writing? I mean, is it late into the early hours or are you an early bird? When do you get all this writing done?
It's normally late and into the early hours and over weekends.
Yeah.
But I think my role within the church and my pastoral activities creates the opportunity for me to write about what actually is my lived experience.
Absolutely. And you're not just an author now, you're a prolific author because you have a book series. This is your fourth book and
It is.
and you've got another six in the pipeline. So,
That's right.
you are going for it. I mean, where does this drive to write come from, Dawn? What's kind of pulling you, calling you to do this, do you feel?
Well, interestingly, over the last 10 years, I have preached many, many sermons and I write them in long form. And more recently, in fact, it was beginning of last year, I just thought it would be a good idea just to start writing some of these down. And in particular, this latest book is more about my journey to becoming a church leader rather than what I've preached upon. So I've got ten years worth of backlog of sermons that I could turn into books. And that's why I've got quite an amount
Yeah,
to
yeah. So the
write.
content's there, but
Mhm.
are you writing because you love writing? Are you writing because you feel you got something important to say? Are you writing because you feel like the subject is desperately needed to be heard by people? What are the pulls?
Yeah, I think it's all those three things. It's not writing for funding or for money because I work and I work full time, but it's more, what are the key principles, the key messages, what's helpful to write now into this generation, into this age. So yeah, interesting. It's interesting times.
Yeah. So this book is called From Sheepdog to Shepherd. Very interesting title. Tell us what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year, I was approached to take on the pastoral care of a church because the current pastors were expecting to retire.
Wow.
And I hadn't anticipated that invitation, even though I was on the church leadership, even though actively preaching and leading ministries. And my first gut reaction was, I am more sheepdog than I am shepherd. And I thought to myself, that's probably an interesting title to a book. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, you've already referenced the fact that I'm a banker by day. Well, I'm in change management. That's what I do. So it means that I am driven, efficient, focused on results, organizing, fixing problems, moving things forward. That's my lens on life. But that's very sheepdog.
Mm.
So sheepdog moves people, shepherds walk with people. And so I've had to learn how to come out of that lens for shepherding, which is an entirely different concept. So it's really been me looking back and processing my journey that seemingly has made me ready to take on more of that shepherding role at this
Wow.
time.
Well, I love that. So sheepdogs move sheep or move people, and
Yeah.
shepherds walk with people.
Yeah, and it's sort of the idea that you can bark at people and push them in the right direction, and you can
You
you
could
can literally
try.
shift
You could
people.
try.
You can try, but but you end up injuring people, right?
Yeah.
And you end up scaring people, and people feel under pressure. So nobody wants to be moved under pressure. Almost in the workplace, that is expected. But in the church, it's not. It's much more about the shepherd having presence, not pressure.
Yeah.
And, actually being more vulnerable because all of this creates competency in the workplace.
Mm.
And you can hide behind competency.
Mm.
But as a shepherd, you need to be present, you need to be known. And that creates more vulnerability. Can't
Yeah.
even say it. Vulnerability.
Vulnerability. So that's
Yes, to be
fascinating.
alongside people. Mhm.
So the day job, yeah, moving people. the kind of the Sunday job, and all, of course, all through the week, is shepherding people, kind of walking with people. Um,
Mm.
have you learned, well, I know you have, what have you learned about walking with people in your church responsibilities that you think actually play back to walking with people in the workplace? What have you learned from one to the other?
Yeah, that's really interesting because, of course, you have line management responsibilities and almost pastoral care within the workplace. And a lot of it is about relationship,
Mm,
the importance of relationship, and the importance of getting to know people, to understand what drives them, what's concerning them. So as sheep, which is a metaphor for people often in the Bible, can be bleeding underneath their wool.
yeah,
Can be acting out from a series of circumstances that you need to understand, not just bark at to fix
yeah,
it and tidy it up,
mm,
but to actually understand more about them. Well, there's an obvious correlation
yes.
to being with people. And it is interesting that as I've been on this journey, more and more people have said to me in the workplace, you can see the pastor coming out in you. And that's great feedback. And it
Yeah.
tells me that I am actually learning these lessons. Now, have I learned them all? Am I fully shepherd? No. I've still got some sheepdog tendencies. Sheepdogs are still good in the
Yeah,
moment of
yeah.
danger, right? But it is, something that I've got to continue to learn and build upon as I take on more pastoral care
Wow.
and church leadership.
Yeah, yeah. So we're obviously, I mean, this is fascinating. We're going to run out and get the book. It's available now worldwide. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, get the book, read it. It's amazing. Dawn, you're not going to tell us all the little gems in the book. Can you just take one of maybe a story or a principle that's been really important about learning to be a shepherd rather than a sheepdog?
Yeah, look, I think probably one of the reasons that I didn't anticipate that I would be in pastoral care is it's what do you do with naughty sheep? Right, and how do you pastor those, right? And and if you Google, a question about what do shepherds do with naughty sheep, there's some interesting answers that come
I
back.
bet there are.
Um, yeah, but actually, you find it in the Bible as well. In Ezekiel, there are specific addresses to the sheep that are naughty. So it talks about sheep who have trampled on the pasture, and now other people have to eat from it, or have put their muddy feet in water, and now other people have to drink from it. And this was really enlightening to me because for me, I thought, gosh, this is a legitimate question that I have in my heart about how do you pastor sheep that are effectively naughty, who are pushing and shoving and trying to get into the center or causing other issues for other sheep. And so actually this became a frame of reference for me to say, this is how you understand more about your flock, how you get to understand what's going on within the group of people. Why are people behaving as they are? And actually, legitimately helping people to move out of that position, whether it's through coaching or mentoring or pastoral care, or even in some circumstances, discipline, but actually trying to understand them better and legitimately feeling like there are naughty sheep to manage. It was one of the biggest revelations to me, and I
Wow.
thoroughly enjoyed writing about that
Yeah,
part.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, goodness me, everybody is clicking to buy now. It's such a great book. So, Dawn, yeah, this is the fifth book you've written in the last 12 months with us. And what was the biggest obstacle to writing this book, did you find?
Look, I think because I'm a speaker and I've been a speaker for a long time,
Yeah.
transitioning to writing is challenging.
Mm,
And it can sometimes be a bit of a block, and you think, well, I can speak, but writing is different. But actually, the learning that we had from your course, the support from the editors, really enabled me to overcome that. So for me, it was about not relying on my voice and my tone and my presence, but transferring that into the written word, shorter sentences, shorter paragraphs, building up a point, making sure it's clear. Are you saying, what you say in the back of the book, is that what you're writing?
sure.
Those are all the things that I found PublishU helped with
Yeah.
and helped me to overcome that. Because I think once you're into the flow, it's about momentum. You know, you've got groups of people that are encouraging you, walking alongside you. Everybody's at the same stage. That's what helps you to move forward,
Yeah.
which I found invaluable.
That's great. Ditto with me, Dawn. I'm an orator who's become an author, and it's a very different communication skill, speaking, public speaking, to writing books and
Yeah,
pocketbooks. Very different skill. I mean, it's the same, maybe the same message, maybe the same words, but they have to be expressed quite differently. And that's a
yeah.
real art. And it's just wonderful to see you honing that skill and that art form over time. And we're really excited about future books that are coming our way from your pen or your keyboard, shall we say. But, as we wrap up today, from sheepdog to shepherd, what's your hope for this book and the impact that it has probably on people that are leading and how they lead?
Yeah, look, I think it's going to be helpful in terms of expressing my journey in terms of leadership. But moreover than that, Matt, I want people to understand that there is this sovereign thread through everybody's life that you are being prepared for something that maybe you didn't see on your horizon.
Yeah.
Now, I've called it sovereign serendipity. The language
Ooh, love
itself
it.
doesn't quite work, right? But it reflects, for me, the serendipity of finding that I was actually happy to do something that I thought I would never do. And then in terms of God's sovereignty, is seeing his preparation through many, many years, and even things from my childhood and younger ministry experience and church experience that led to this moment. So don't rule out anything that God is asking you to do. You'll find yourself unexpectedly prepared for it, whether that's ministry or something else in life.
Oh, thank you, Dawn. And thank you all for listening to the PublishU podcast, featuring the real life stories, the genuinely real life stories of authors from all around the world. If you are interested in writing a book or a series of books like Dawn has, then please do reach out to us. Visit the PublishU website at www.publish, the letter u.com, publishu.com. And if you enjoyed this broadcast, make sure you subscribe right now for more. Thank you so much for listening, and goodbye for now.